What's up, y'all? Let's try another one take attempt, but today's topic's gonna be a little bit different. I want to talk about leveraging debt and using debt to build and grow your business. And really, the inspiration for this video is something that I'm actually currently experiencing in my own business. And, I just thought it might be fun or insightful to share this with you guys. Have my notes there, but disclaimer, since I feel like I have to say this, this is not business or financial advice. Don't listen to anything I have to say. This is purely my experience and my perspective and kind of what my thought process is and something that I've been experimenting with. But yeah, like obviously leveraging debt to getting into debt in general is typically not a good idea because of the bad consequences that you will face if you are not careful or if you are not informed. So talk to a professional. I'm not a professional. This is only my experience and my perspective. But yeah, like I have the whiteboard right behind me, so this video won't end up being an hour long. But yeah, basically, I just want to talk about leveraging debt versus using cash only when it comes to starting and growing your business. And like there's probably many different school of thoughts. Like some people believe in, no, I'm only gonna use the cash I have on hand and the profit that I make from my business and then like reinvesting that, right? And then there's other people who believe in, hey, like I can leverage a little bit of debt, kind of be in the debt for a while, but by using the debt, it will really propel in the growth of the business much faster. So the type of debt I'm talking about is, well, the type of business I'm talking about is, just based on my experience, which is a small business, which I'm sure that's most of the people out there, So I'm not talking about like how to build $1 billion business because obviously I have no clue about that. I'm strictly talking about how to grow, well, one way on how to grow a small business. And the type of debt that I'm talking about is really the most like easily accessible type of consumer debt. So, things like literally a credit card. Like most people have a credit card, right? So that's what we're talking about. Growing a small business and utilizing easily accessible consumer debt such as a credit card. And yeah, like I'm just gonna give like kind of a real time example of an issue I'm facing in one of my e-commerce business, and that is the issue with cash flow. Okay, so let's get out this whiteboard, and hopefully you guys can see it. But whoa. Okay. Okay. So first off, we're gonna go off of a couple of assumptions here. Okay. So we're gonna assume that we're gonna reinvest 100% of our profits. Okay. We're also gonna assume everything that we sell has a 50% ROI, okay, return on investment. And we're just going to assume we have a $250 operating expense every month, okay? Okay, if you hear some noise, that's my cat right over there. Um, so $250 in operating expenses. So I utilize things such as softwares and programs, okay, to help me move. Dude, seriously, my cat's in the way. Um, so things like software, programs for research. So first, we're gonna go over the no debt model, and then we're gonna go over the debt model. Okay, so with the no debt model, um, with on month number one, we are gonna assume that the person has $1,000 in cash to spend on inventory, okay? To spend on products to sell, okay? So $1,000 to spend on goods. So we're just gonna call that cost of goods sold. So how much it costs you to buy the good, okay? And then 50% ROI. So that means if you sell $1,000 of goods, you're gonna get back your 1,000 plus an additional 50%, which is $500, right? So that leaves us with 1.5K, okay? And with that 1.5K that we get back, we gotta take back out like the cost of goods sold, right? So 1.5 minus 1,000 equals 1,000. I mean 500, and then we gotta take out the $250 operating expense, which leaves us with $250 of profit at the end of month one. Okay, so we take this 250, reinvest it back into the business, and remember, we already got back our cost of goods sold, which was 1,000. So it's 1,000 plus 250 equals. That means on month number two, we have $1,250 to spend on inventory. Okay, so same process. Boom. End of month two, we end up with $375 that we can reinvest back into the business. So 375 plus the initial amount. Okay, so fast forward. So by the way, we're only gonna calculate these two models based on a 6-month time frame. So on month 6, the end of month 6, we're looking at we're like putting in over four grand into inventory, okay, and after all of the profits and cost of goods sold, we end month number 6 with pretty much $1,900 in profit. Okay, so let's just say at the end of month 6, you're like, hey, I'm done with this business. I just want to cash out. So this is what you'd be looking at by using the no debt model. You're gonna expect to make $1,900 of profit, with all these assumptions. Okay. Now let's go over to the debt model. Okay, so this is no debt model. So with the debt model, we are assuming that we have the same $1,000 in cash, but this person is willing to utilize an additional $1,000 in debt. Okay, so they're starting with $2,000 instead of 1,000. Okay, and of that 2,000, 1,000 is debt. So month number 1, they're spending $2 grand on inventory. Okay, 50% ROI means $3,000 back in income. Okay, now here is where it's different. So we only take back out 1K in cost of goods sold because we are leveraging and carrying over the $1,000 debt month to month. Okay, because if we didn't do that, like if we had $3,000 in income and we take back out $2,000 in cost of goods sold, then that's not really that's not leveraging debt, because that's like saying, hey, I need a loan, and I'm gonna pay you back next month. Well, then you just basically end back at square one, you know, because you're gonna run into the same like cash flow issues if you don't if you don't hold on to that debt long enough, where you can let your profits and reinvestment snowball, right? So that is why we only take back out the $1,000 in cost of goods sold, and we're gonna be carrying the $1,000 in debt month over month, okay, until the end of 6 months, okay. So month number 2, same deal, we have an income of 2,625, and we're taking out 750 in cost of goods sold, okay, because month number 2 we invested 1,750, but because we are gonna be consistently carrying $1,000 in debt, we're only taking out 750 in the cost of goods sold. So at month 6, we are spending almost 15,000 in inventory. Okay, and this is the expected income minus the cost of goods sold. So you see here, 13,954 is $1,000 less than that, 1,400, because like I said, we are carrying this $1,000 debt until the end of 6 months. Okay, so by the end of 6 months, we have, well, this is not the final number, okay, but just remember this. We are at a positive 8,227 versus 1,899 with the no debt model, okay? So, for the real math, okay? Man, I hope you can see this, but woo. So, this is awkward. Credit card debt is typically whatever, let's just say 19% in APR, right? A year. So let's just assume that to be like 1.5% every month, okay? I'm just gonna write this down and then show you. So we're gonna assume 1.5% in interest, okay? And remember, our loan was $1,000, right? So $1,000 at 1.5% interest over a 6-month period is basically $90 in interest, okay? So by holding on to that debt for 6 months at 1.5% per month, you would basically be paying $90 in interest, okay? So we take this number, this profit, it's not for the final profit, but we take 8,227 profit minus $90 in interest that we'll pay minus the initial $1,000 in debt. Okay, so that leaves us with I already did the math, so okay, so this is our final number. Hope you can see it. But basically, with the debt model, we made this profit minus the $90 in interest minus the $1,000 principal. And we're left with a profit of around $7,000 in 6 months. Okay. Compare $7,000 to less than $2,000 in the no debt model. Like what is that? That's like a $5,000 difference over the span of 6 months. Okay, and we're assuming that we only have a 50% ROI. Okay, a lot of the business in the e-commerce space, or just I guess any business in general, having a 50% ROI is not that uncommon. Like, I feel like if anything, 50% ROI is already pretty conservative. Yeah, 50% is like pretty conservative number. So, you know, that's what it is. Less than $2,000 profit, $7,000 profit. Like, with the debt model, you basically pay off all the interest, pay off all the principal, and still be left with $7,000, which is $5,000 more than the no debt model. Okay, just by utilizing a one-time injection of $1,000 in debt. Okay, that kind of goes to show that leveraging debt can be a powerful thing. You know, it can be a game changer if you know what you are doing. It's a very dangerous thing to play with if you don't know what you're doing, or if you gotten like bad advice or like whatever. And you know, like I said, this is just, you know, my experience. You know, it's probably wrong. It probably won't work for most people. And definitely don't follow it if you don't know what you're doing, right? So talk to someone who knows what they're doing, talk to a professional, and I'm not a professional. So I think in the end, though, it's all about time, right? Like, how much time do you have? How much time do you want to like spend on the business, or not spend, but like how much time are you? How long are you willing to wait around for your profits to roll, or how much patience do you have, or like, you know, what is your expectation of growth for your business, right? Because if you have all the time in the world and you have all the patience in the world and you're not in a rush to, like, you know, aggressively grow the business, then that's great. You know, I think having the slow growth, no debt model is a very safe and stable way to approach it, right? But you know, some people, they can't wait, right? It's like, for some people, the mentality is like, hey, why would I want to spend a year to make $1,000 when I can spend the same year to make $10,000, right? And also, we cannot forget that there are fixed costs, right? So especially if you are running and like building a small business where you are, say you're like working just out of your house or something, right? So things like rent, things like cell phone, internet bills, those are fixed costs because rent is due every month, right? So say your rent is a grand a month, like either way, no matter what happens, you're gonna pay 12 grand in rent for the year, right? So that is your fixed cost. So if you are growing your business in like using a slow model, then your relative fixed cost in your business is going to be very high, right? Because if you make, you know, if you make 2 grand a month and your rent is 1 grand, then like technically, your rent takes up like half of your profit, right? But if you make like I don't know 10 grand and your rent is still 1 grand, then in that case your rent is only 10% of your profit. So that's probably not like extremely accurate, but you get what I'm saying. Like time is time, right? Like, well, duh. But what I'm saying is fixed cost is going to be fixed cost. So, if you grow your business slow, then these fixed costs are going to cost more in a sense. But if you aggressively grow your business and make profit, grow the profit faster, then the fixed cost will be relatively lower. So, I hope this was insightful. I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, this is just one of my many thought process. Um, don't take this as advice. Maybe will just provide like a different perspective on how you look at growing your business and the different types of tools that you can utilize to leverage. So that's it, man. Talk to you guys next time.